FOMO and JOMO, two sides of the same anxious coin. The eternal struggle between your deep need to be everywhere at once and your equally strong craving to be absolutely nowhere at all. It's like choosing between social anxiety and anti-social anxiety. Congratulations! You get to be anxious either way. Let's start with something painfully familiar. You're on Instagram at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and suddenly it feels like everyone you've ever met is living their best life. Sarah from high school is at some rooftop party, the kind with fairy lights and a suspicious number of photogenic cocktails. Your coworker has posted 17 stories from a concert. You can practically hear the tinnitus through your phone screen. And there you are in your pajamas, eating cereal for dinner, like the grown-up you swore you'd never become. Now here's where it gets interesting. Your brain has 2 seconds to decide something very important. Are you missing out on something amazing? Or are you exactly where you want to be? Welcome to the psychological Thunderdome, where FOMO and JOMO battle for control of your Saturday night and your sense of self-worth. FOMO, fear of missing out, is basically your brain's way of convincing you that somewhere else is always better. It's that nagging voice that says every party you don't attend was definitely the party of the century. Every restaurant you don't try was probably your soulmate establishment. And every experience you skip was obviously going to change your life forever. FOMO is optimism's evil twin, always promising that happiness is just one invitation away. Now meet JOMO, the part of you that celebrates canceling plans like it's a holiday. It's when you genuinely feel relief at staying home, like you've just dodged a bullet made of small talk and overpriced drinks. JOMO is what happens when you realize that missing out isn't actually missing out at all. It's choosing out. There's a difference, and it's bigger than you think. But here's where most people get confused. They think JOMO is just introversion wearing a fancy acronym, like calling your social anxiety a lifestyle choice. Wrong. You can be extroverted and still experience JOMO. You can be introverted and still get steamrolled by FOMO. The psychology isn't about your social battery. It's about your relationship with choice and control. Let's break it down with some classic signs, because of course we need a diagnostic checklist for emotional chaos. Sign number 1. RSVP paralysis. You get an invite, and instead of a simple yes or no, you spiral into a decision-making process that rivals space launch protocols. You calculate the probability of fun versus the risk of regret. If your first reaction is, "Oh, thank God, I have an excuse not to go," you're in JOMO territory. If you're terrified of missing the one great night of your life, that's pure FOMO. Sign number 2, phantom phone syndrome. You're out trying to have fun, but your phone keeps tempting you with all the better things you might be missing. You're physically present but mentally shopping for alternative experiences. It's like being in a relationship while constantly browsing dating apps, except the relationship is with your current activity, and the dating apps are every other possible way you could be spending your time. Sign number 3, strategic social media posting. This one's diabolical. You post something to make it look like you're having an amazing time. Not because you actually are, but because you need to convince yourself and others that you made the right choice. The post isn't documentation, it's propaganda. You're literally trying to manufacture evidence that your FOMO was justified. Sign number 4, preemptive excuse generation. Before you even decline an invitation, you're already crafting the perfect excuse. Not because you don't want to hurt feelings, but because you need to justify to yourself why you're choosing to miss out. If you're spending more time perfecting your excuse than you would have spent at the actual event, you might be dealing with some complex JOMO guilt. Here's something nobody talks about. FOMO and JOMO can happen simultaneously. You can feel both the fear of missing out and the joy of missing out about the same event. It's like being hungry and nauseous at the same time. Your brain wants the social validation and the solitude, the excitement and the peace. the connection, and the independence. Congratulations! You've achieved peak human contradiction. Sign number 5. Group chat guilt spiral. Someone suggests plans in the group chat, and suddenly you're analyzing every message like you're decoding ancient hieroglyphics. Who's excited? Who's being polite? What's the actual enthusiasm level here? If you find yourself trying to gauge the collective energy before committing to anything, you're probably caught between FOMO and JOMO. You want to be where the energy is, but you also want to avoid where the energy isn't. Sign number 6. Comparison hangover. This happens after you've chosen one thing over another. Instead of enjoying what you picked, you spend the entire time wondering if the alternative would have been better. It's like buyer's remorse, but for your life choices. You're at dinner, but you're thinking about the movie. You're at the movie, but you're thinking about staying home. You're home, but you're thinking about literally anywhere else. And speaking of thinking about literally anywhere else, if you're relating to this psychological circus, you might want to stick around and subscribe. Not because I need your validation or anything, but because someone has to document the slow descent of human decision-making into complete chaos. And apparently that someone is me. Sign number 7. The energy audit. Before accepting any invitation, you perform a full cost-benefit analysis of your social energy expenditure. Will this drain me? Will I regret not going? Can I leave early? Do I have enough extroversion points saved up? If you're literally budgeting your personality like it's a finite resource, you're deep in the FOMO JOMO psychological soup. Sign number 8. The backup plan obsession. You never just go somewhere. You always have an exit strategy, a backup activity, or a secondary option. It's not enough to choose something. You need to choose something while keeping all other options available. It's like commitment issues, but for your Tuesday evening. The psychology behind this madness is actually pretty simple. FOMO happens when you believe that your current state is somehow deficient. That satisfaction exists somewhere else, in someone else's experience. It's scarcity mindset applied to experiences. JOMO happens when you recognize that satisfaction isn't location dependent. It's perspective dependent. But here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Both FOMO and JOMO can be forms of avoidance. FOMO can be avoiding the discomfort of sitting with yourself and your current reality. JOMO can be avoiding the discomfort of social interaction and potential disappointment. Sometimes what we call choice is actually just different flavors of the same underlying anxiety. The real skill isn't choosing between FOMO and JOMO. It's learning to recognize when you're making decisions from fear versus making decisions from genuine preference. Are you staying home because you truly want to? Or because you're afraid the party won't live up to your expectations? Are you going out because you genuinely want to connect? Or because you're afraid of being left behind? Here's a radical thought. Maybe the solution isn't optimizing your choices, but accepting that some decisions don't matter as much as we think they do. Maybe that party you skipped wasn't life-changing. Maybe staying home wasn't a waste. Maybe most of our experiences are pretty mediocre, and that's okay. The paradox is that once you stop caring so much about making the perfect choice, you start making better choices. When you're not desperately trying to maximize every moment, you can actually experience the moments you choose. Now, if this whole topic is causing you genuine distress, if you find yourself paralyzed by social decisions, or avoiding social situations entirely because of anxiety, please talk to a mental health professional. Because while I can make fun of our collective psychological chaos, actual anxiety disorders need actual help, not just sarcastic commentary. The truth is, FOMO and JOMO are both symptoms of the same problem. We've convinced ourselves that happiness is a choice we can make perfectly if we just think hard enough about it. But happiness isn't a choice. It's a byproduct. It happens when you stop trying so hard to manufacture it. So next time you're torn between going out and staying in, remember this. You're not actually choosing between experiences. You're choosing between different ways of being disappointed in yourself. At least now you can be disappointed with self-awareness. And that, my friends, is what we call personal growth in the 21st century.